Hello, beautiful people. I'm Vlad from Synaptic Schism, and today we are going to start mixing the song, finally. So until now, we have been putting tracks into buses and buses going into the mix bus, and now we are going to start mixing. Now, there are several ways to approach this, but the two more common ones are to either start with the tracks and then go to the buses and then to the mix bus. This is a bottom-up kind of approach, or you can do it the other way around, which is to start with the mix bus, then going to the buses, and then, if needed, going into the tracks. This is a top-down approach. This second one is the one that I use, and the reason for that is that if you can make things sound good when you're dealing with the mix bus and then the buses, you need to do less work when you are at the track level. Okay, so that's what we are going to do today. We are going to take care of the mix bus, but also of this guy, the master bus. So before we start, let me show you how this is currently sounding. This is the track at the moment. Okay. And the first thing that we are going to do is to add a limiter to this master bus. And this limiter, the objective is to get the end output closer in terms of level to what will be a master. And the reason for that is that our perception of lows, mids, and highs changes as the volume changes. So we don't perceive, especially highs and lows, the same way when the volume is louder. That's the reason why when we crank up the volume in our favorite songs, they seem to sound better, is because they do, because we perceive more lows and highs. The objective here is not to master the song, it's just to take the overall level of the song closer to what it would be if we were mastering, with the objective of having a sound that is closer to the end result. So with the limiter, I always use a ceiling of 1. The threshold, I always put it at 0 with this particular limiter, because I don't want any gain to be handled by the plugin itself. And now for the release, I'm going to show you how I calculate this. So a second has got 60,000 milliseconds, and the song is at 140 bits per minute. So I'm going to divide this by 140 bits per minute. So 428.57 milliseconds is the time of a quarter note. Now, since we are going to be playing things in 16ths, I want to divide this by 4. And this is 107.14. So I'm going to use 107 because I think that 107.1 is the minimum. 14, he doesn't care. It's just like that. So that's the release time that I want. Again, this is just for the sake of mixing. This limiter will be off if I export this to go to mastering or something like that. Now I'm just going to crank up the gain until I just shave off some dBs, so just a little bit of noise reduction. Again, the objective here is not at all to master the song, it's just to get the track to a more appropriate level for mixing. Okay, I'm trying to not go too much over 1 dB. I'm just going to shave off a little bit here. Okay, so this is with the limiter, I'm not going to touch it anymore. And without the limiter, obviously the volume is lower, but our perception of highs, can you hear the right signal? You would probably not, you would not be listening to it at this level. Okay, now that the master bus is okay, we will return to the master bus. I'm going to start taking care of the mix bus. Now, I'm going to use the mix effects for saturation. and I'm going to, I already tested this, so I'm going to search for the sound that I already had. But the point here is that I'm adding saturation to the mix bus. Okay. I expect your DAW to have some kind of similar effect, but there are good free alternatives from Analog Obsession, for instance. So let's dial in the saturation. So I'm trying to do is to find that analog sound without compressing the actual track. It's important to go in A/B over the way to see if we are losing character. Now, for the sake of testing, I'll try with others. This is actually pretty cool, very aggressive on the guitars, right? Yeah, not really a fan of this one, but two is okay actually. Maybe a little bit too much. Kind of prefer this one, but although this one does give it a little bit more muddy mix, but we can handle that, I guess. Okay, so the saturation part is done. The first thing that I often do is just to put an EQ, and the objective with this EQ is to correct the things that I don't like in the mix overall. Okay, so just as a personal preference, I don't like boomy bottoms, like when the low end goes like, I really don't like that. I find that really displeasing. However, I do think that this is very much a genre and an aesthetical choice. Well, as long as you have the bottom end controlled. So let's check this. I don't want to lose anybody from the kick and the bass, alright? I can still hear the kick pretty well, but if I go like this, the kick starts to fade, right? So we don't want to lose those fundamentals of the kick. Just want to gain a little bit of headroom in the lows while I'm losing that rumble, right? Now, that boxiness that I got from the saturation, let's see if I can do anything about it. Just very smooth, like, we don't want to go like doing things like this, you know, just very small adjustments. So the song is a little bit crispier here, but I lose the body of the guitar, right? You see the difference? So because I'm cutting here, the higher frequencies are more noticeable, but I lose the body of the guitar. So I think I'm not even going to touch that. And now, the other thing that I want to check is around these frequencies, what I'm looking for is the click of the snare, the kick. I want to have more presence from those two. Just switching it on and off. just a little bit, just to have just a little bit more of that kick, that snare. All right, now I'm going to compress this. And the way that I compress in the mix bus is I put a normal compressor and a normal bus compressor, and I just want to shave just 1 dB just to make everyone behave better together, okay? There's nothing very dramatic there. And to use that, I'm going to use the fat channel because it's the closest thing that I have. And I'm going to use a specific compressor. I'm going to use a tube compressor. First and foremost, because it adds a little bit more color and character to the mix bus, but also because it's very easy for me to achieve exactly what I want to do. So let's listen. I just want to shave just 1 dB out of it. Now, we can see that what's speaking there mostly is the snare, so we know that we probably need to handle the snare there. And then revisit the compression. So, without this, it's barely noticeable, right? I would say that it's not noticeable, we are just really just shaving just a little bit. Okay, and last but not least, also on the mix bus, I've been doing this the last 3 or 4 tracks. I'll be honest, I'm not sure that this is the way that I want to keep mixing on the mix bus, but I'm happy with the results because it gives a little bit more movement to the track, which is to use multiband compression. So I don't want this band, I really don't care about it. Now I just want to listen to each of the bands and determine what is it that they are affecting. So I'm going to solo the low band. And in the low band, I want like the subs. But I don't want to listen to the actual tone of the bass, if that makes sense. Maybe a little bit less. Okay, we should be okay here. So this is really just the low lows, okay? Now I'm going to solo this fellow over here. And in here, the only thing that I want to listen to is actually that kick in the bass. I think I'm getting a little bit of the guitar here, but since I'm going to EQ the guitar later. Now in the mids is basically I'm looking for rumble, just controlling that. Okay. So I have these 4 bands now. If I need to control the highs, I will just lower this one and I have an extra band. But for now, this is what I'm trying to control here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress each of the bands. So that you'll notice that the ratio is always very low, like 2:1. So it's a very mild compression. Just want to like shave it off a little bit and control it in each of the bands. And that will give it a bit of like a rhythm to it. So let's see if we can achieve that. So I'm just going to lower the threshold until I am getting some compression in each of those areas. I don't want anything too drastic, just controlling really the highest peaks, let's say, of each of the bands. And look, you people say don't mix with your eyes, I'm definitely mixing with my eyes here. Just want to shade just a little bit. I don't want anything too dramatic happening there. Okay. Now this needs potentially what's going to cause like mud. But if we compress too much, we completely lose the body of the guitar, for instance, right? So it's just controlling those. I'll probably need to compress the highs because of those. That's right, although it sounds cool. So with the multiband dynamics, it sounds like this, the compressor without it, just a lot flatter, right? Alright, I'm not going to switch off the saturation or the limiter, but I'm going to switch off the EQ and the two compressors just to listen to the difference, to see if I'm happy with the result. So this is with the EQ and the two compressors. This is without the EQ and the compressors. So there's a lot more of that rumble that I don't like. There's a little bit more mud. And there's more clarity with the processing that we use on the mix bus. So this is the whole objective of doing a top-down approach to mixing, is to be able to do these very large moves on the mix bus, which is going to benefit the whole mix. So it's a lot less work to have a lot more effect. Okay, so I hope that this was cool for you to watch. In the next episode, I'm going to take care of the drums overall, identifying what are the issues that I want to deal with. I hope you enjoyed it and that this was helpful. And until the next video,